diet was the biggest thing that I couldn't figure out. And so when that was explained to me in detail, along with the support, and just knowing that I could reach out to you guys if I needed to, just that alone set me on the right path. And I started the diet plan. The crazy thing is, which is really crazy, is within 24 hours, my stomach felt so much better. My stools, the blood slowly disappeared to where it was really scant and you could hardly see anything. But mostly, honestly, having your guys' support and knowing that there's someone there that cares is huge. I feel so much better than I did before.
Yeah.
So even before Crohn's, I feel better.
Give this video a thumbs up if you know what it's like to live with IBD, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. This channel is designed to help people recover from colitis, Crohn's, and any other form of IBD. You can always head to our website, highcarbhealth.com, for a free 30-minute consultation from anywhere in the world. And remember, there is a life after colitis. Hello and welcome to another episode of IBD Heal, a podcast brought to you by High Carb Health. I'm your host, Shakul, and today I'm joined by Kimberly, who has healed Crohn's disease. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So Kimberly, if you'd just like to introduce yourself a little bit, and then we can talk a little bit about how you were diagnosed and how you find out that you had Crohn's disease, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, my name's Kimberly. I am a mother of 3. I've been a nurse all my adult life, nurse practitioner for the last several years, and in the U.S. So I've seen how the side of medicine that the U.S. provides, which is zero preventative. And and I'm an older mom, 43, and haven't had any health problems up until now.
So how did you find out that you had Crohn's disease, and kind of what was the whole experience of getting diagnosed?
So last year, it's been over a year now. I started having symptoms when I just started having like urgency symptoms to go to the bathroom. And one day I just had blood and followed up thinking it was nothing but like maybe a hemorrhoid or something minor. And then I had all the workup, colonoscopy, pill encapsulation, and had a full workup. And they wanted to do more workup, but they said most likely you have Crohn's. And I kind of wanted to stop because at that point they said you needed to be on chemo medication that would cost thousands of dollars through an IV, and for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So, as a nurse, you've got a bit more knowledge than the average person around how these medications work and their side effects and things like that. Can you just talk about what your thoughts were when you were told that you were going to be put on some of these medications, and then maybe even try and talk to the audience about, the things that you've seen around side effects and how this affects people's lives?
Yeah, actually, it freaked me out. I've been doing medicine for so long, and I guess I've never been that patient before. So when I was actually put in that seat to be the patient, it was so freaky because I've always been healthy, and I felt healthy anyways. And so to be told that, and to be told there was no other option, was shocking. And that's when I had heard of different things. I've heard of different healthy avenues that were options, and I thought I'm going to start pursuing. And I think definitely I used to take care of older people at my last job for like 3 or 4 years, and I was always trying to get people off medications, because after 3 or 4 medications you have polypharmacy, so you have tremendous amounts of side effects. So you're taking another medication to beat that side effect, and so you end up on a dozen medications for treatment of these problems. So anyways, I was just pretty freaked out.
Yeah, and what particular side effects are these types of medications for IBD that you didn't really want to risk?
You know, I read the long list in the pamphlet, which is like so hard to read. You need a magnifying glass because the list is so long. And I know that you're at risk for other cancers when you take chemotherapeutic drugs. And, you know, that alone stopped me. But along with like minor side effects that I saw, I just said, mostly, I don't want to be on a medication that's made in a pharmacy for the rest of my life, because I knew there would most likely be long-term consequences. And I was like, not happy. You know, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's just fascinating to me because I've spoken to a lot of doctors and health practitioners in the medical profession that, you know, when the shoe's put on the other foot and they have to be the patient and they're faced with the idea of taking some of these medications, like, no, I'm not too keen on the idea, you know, whereas they'll happily like just, you know, I guess distribute it or prescribe it to people.
Right.
But when you are the one who's having to deal with, you know, the dangers of these medications, it suddenly changes a lot. And it's really interesting to hear you say that as well, that, you know, these are serious drugs. They're not like, it's not like a game. These are very, very serious drugs. And we don't have lots of long-term info on what it does to you after, you know, 10, 20, 30 years of being on these medications. So you're really kind of gambling about what's going to happen, right?
Yes, absolutely. I worked really hard to get my patients off of medications, and they felt so much better. It was amazing.
Yeah, there's a saying, you know, judge your doctor or healthcare professional by how willing they are to take you off your medications rather than prescribe them.
I agree with that. Yes.
So let's talk about your journey then. So you started experiencing symptoms and you obviously got faced with the reality of the different medications that you may need to take. And you decided, okay, I'm going to look at another option. What are some of the options you looked at, and talk us through your decision-making process there?
Yeah, I went immediately to like natural routes. But the books that I read, it was just difficult. I tried different diets. My stress was pretty high because I had a family to take care of. And so I just couldn't believe that I took the medications for a few months and I just couldn't believe I still needed it. So I kept trying different diets and different just ways of life. And but I just felt so stressed because of this diagnosis. Like it was hard to lower. But so I would say mostly just trying different diets. It seemed like there was several books out there and different ideas, and so I tried different things, but it just I didn't get any relief of symptoms.
Can you remember some of the names of the diets that you tried?
Well, I tried a vegan diet. I actually saw a vegan plant-based doctor who was really awesome, really kind, and tried me on fasting. I don't remember I know there's a name of, I don't really want to give that name out, but in case it helps. Yeah. But I did go through fasting, just eating just unique things, and I was losing weight rapidly and I was feeling terrible basically because especially with the fasting, especially with being told to just eat green vegetables without any calories really, I felt starving and it was going fast. And so that was kind of scary for me, especially having to take care of my family too. But I did try the plant-based route right away because I had plant-based friends. And so they kind of turned me that way. And there's a Food Revolution Summit that I listened to. Yeah, so I went plant-based because that was the route my friends had directed me. I went through Pam Popper. She's someone that is plant-based who did have information on different GI things. And then I went through a plant-based doctor, and then didn't seem to have the support I needed, really. That was the main problem. I felt like I was talking to someone, and then I really didn't have support. I would talk to someone once and pay a lot of money. I wouldn't talk to him again for a month, and I was alone with this scary problem. And I wasn't getting better.
Okay.
I was given like a list, or I'd be told to fast, and then and then I'd be starving, and I just didn't really have the answers I was looking for.
Okay. And so how did you find out about us at High Carb Health, and what did you see from what you saw about High Carb Health that made you want to join the program?
So I got every single book that I could find on IBD and Crohn's, and I looked through all of them, and one of them, I actually looked on Amazon Prime, and there was a comment about you guys through one of the books. And so I immediately went to your site, and it was like so easy to follow. And so then I went back to the book, which was older, but I thought, okay, this site is brand new and up to date and explaining everything related to this book. So it made me pursue the book because of all that I saw on the site. So. Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point you decided to reach out to us and book a meeting with Shamiz?
Yep. Then I reached out to you guys. You guys got back to me right away. You had a long email with a bunch of information, and it was pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, so talk about your first consultation with Shamiz, and then when you decided to join, what was some of the information that you learned about diet and IBD and other aspects of health?
Yeah, Shamiz had a stepwise approach to getting through this, not with diet, but also several other factors that he said would help me to get better and recover completely. He was confident. I was able to speak to him one-on-one on the Zoom, which I was not able to do of anything I looked for. I couldn't find anyone that I could communicate with besides a very expensive doctor who dealt with a lot of diseases that were that was trying to heal with plant-based. So he was the only one that I felt like I could really talk to and just explain my story, and then he could explain everything that he did to help recover completely.
Yeah, and so when you start the program, you get quite a long email with a lot of information about diet, about IBD, about how the body heals. What are some of the main or the key learnings that you took from the information that we taught you?
I would say the key things, which I feel like I knew that some of the things, but the key thing was honestly diet. Diet was the biggest thing that I couldn't figure out. And so when that was explained to me in detail, along with the support, and just knowing that I could reach out to you guys if I needed to, just that alone set me on the right path. And and so when I did sign up, and I started the diet plan, the crazy thing is, which is really crazy, is within 24 hours, my stomach felt so much better, which I can't explain because I had been doing so many diets that I thought were healthy, that seemed right. So it's really interesting. Yeah. And also just having the medical background, like, would this really work? And like within 24 hours, I noticed a change, which was really surprising for me. Not that the journey wasn't long and arduous, but just the fact that I saw that glimmer of hope, like, it really helped me to start it and keep going.
Gave you that motivation that, okay, maybe I'm on the right path here, and I can make something out of this. In terms of your healing journey, so talk about how that experience was for you in terms of going through a little bit of detoxification and healing and seeing your symptoms resolve?
So I would say it was a lot. It's a lot of, it's a big change that you have to take on that leads to great results. I had bleeding still that persisted, and but it was getting better and better. And if I had little stressors, or actually like a few big stressors, I might get a little bit of a setback, and then I would get back on. And then as I had stressors down the line, I noticed I wouldn't have the symptoms resume. So that was really so promising. But I would say probably, definitely the hardest part of it all, like I think it was okay to lower my stress levels and exercise right and, get good sunshine and do all those things. But the hardest part is just for me was changing my diet and being really set straight and not, I thought I was healthy before, about 80% of my diet, but being 100% healthy, which was hard to just be, it was hard for me to be strict. So anyways, once I became strict and I changed it, it really just made the difference. And I haven't changed it since. And so.
Yeah, it's interesting what you talked about before as well, because, there's lots of different ways to eat a plant-based diet. And, when it comes to IBD, there's some very specific things that you need to do. There's some very specific foods that really, really make a big difference. And one thing you did mention was calories. Like if you've got 3 kids and you've got, a lot of, you can't just, fasting is fantastic, but you don't get that much energy with fasting. And so you need to try and, what our program does is it will try and personalize the diet based on a person's specific requirements. And so one of the things that we're really big on is that we don't want people to restrict calories. We want people to have a healthy relationship with food and eating comforting, healthy foods, like, lots of fruit, lots of potatoes and sweet potatoes and different vegetables and making them taste good to start your journey is actually, can really set you up for success, because you're going to really enjoy that. And it's food that you can actually look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did, it did take time. It really did. But you know what? I saw that I'm so grateful for so many other things in life that I can handle eating things differently at first. Now it's so amazing how your mindset changes and you really do crave it. I never thought I would, but I do crave like these mushroom dressings and all these different things you can make. There's a million things you can make. So,
especially after you heal your gut, right? Especially after you heal your gut, it opens up such a huge variety of different diversity of plants that it makes them really easy.
I will say, there was a period, I think there was 3 to 6 months that I did really eat extremely. You taper it to eating more and more, but if you stick with that, it's just amazing the change, and it's permanent. I haven't had any problems since. So.
Yeah, how long has it been since you finished? When I was looking through my notes here,
You
started with us around June 2021, and you finished around November 2021. So yeah, now it's been a year since you started the program.
You were really conservative with me, which was awesome. Because I was doing better, but you just kept being conservative. Let's just wait and wait and wait. And I'm glad, because I never had any remission. So, I never had any problems again. So I feel like that was great that I waited and waited.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. But I want you to discuss or tell the audience how your body changed as you went through. So just, from having bleeding and symptoms to how did that kind of ease off and disappear? And then how to just talk about all of that.
Well, I had a lot of like stomach discomfort for a few months. It was pretty significant discomfort. And then that day I ate, like the first day I started, I ate like a dozen bananas. And I just remember my stomach just feeling different. And I thought, I'm sure I'm going to feel this discomfort again. And that discomfort never came back. But I still had times where I had the bleeding and then some bloating type symptoms. And then I just remember feeling different feelings in my abdominal area and just kind of keeping with the diet, sticking with it. And my stools, the blood slowly disappeared to where it was really scant and you could hardly see anything. They eased off. And more than anything, I had like a fear. I think psychologically you just fear that you're going to have it come back or you just don't know. And I just feel like that fear stayed with me a long time, even though it didn't come back. And I'm glad we stayed really conservatively through that because I was happy to do that. I was more fearful that it would come back and then what would I do?
And talk about timeframes. Like how long did you find that it took for the blood to disappear and all your symptoms to go away from when I know you've obviously like you would have done some healing when you did your fasting and your low calorie diets and stuff. So that it wasn't all to waste. But from when you kind of started the program, like how long did it take for all the symptoms to kind of go away?
I would say about 3 months. And then we were conservative for a few months to just make sure that I didn't have problems.
Yeah, and what Kimberly's meaning when we were conservative is that I didn't want to rush her into eating too many new foods too quickly. So it's all a process of kind of slowly introducing new foods back into the diet, safely, carefully, making sure you don't eat big quantities of something that could be more difficult to digest. And so the program has this whole phase, isn't it? We start with the transition phase, we go to a healing phase, and then once you're healed, we move into the post-healing phase where it's that slow and controlled introduction of food back into the diet so that, you get through these 7 phases of reintroduction, and then you're eating a really varied whole food plant-based diet and nothing's really off limits. You can eat beans again, you can eat herbs and spices and onions and garlic and all these different things that would cause a lot of trouble if your gut wasn't in a good place.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So talk about how did it feel to be able to eat some of these foods again and not have the discomfort?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes food, like it would just taste like cardboard, like it didn't have as lot of flavor. And then it's really a lot like baby food it reminded me since I have little
when
ones.
you're going through the healing phase.
Yeah. And then you just get like, okay. And then when you have something like that you haven't had for so long, it's just tastes like $1 million, like tomato sauce or, it just really makes you appreciate, we have an abundance here and a lot of places don't have a lot of variety. And I really kind of look to that too, to be honest, is that there's so many places that only have a few things to eat. If anything, I kind of thought about that, impoverished places. And I just thought we are so fortunate. So once I started eating again, it was really nice, but it just gave me a whole different perspective and value to food, and that it's not as, important as I thought it was.
Absolutely. As we say, is 5 minutes of taste pleasure worth the suffering that ensues with it, and the other saying is nothing tastes as good as healthy feels, but the beautiful thing the beautiful thing that I've noticed is that I really look forward to the food, and your taste buds adapt and change, and you actually really enjoy these foods more and more as time goes on, which is quite amazing, because you think, oh, I'm never going to be able to enjoy that diet. coming from a, standard Western diet, which we all kind of had. And then, now you're eating all these different foods, and, they're different, but you're still enjoying your food. That's the main thing. And you feel good.
Yes. Variety. So much variety now. Yeah, I feel so good. My kids want to eat like I do. They always like reach over and are eating my food, and and now they eat mostly like I do, and it's so amazing. Yeah. Really powerful what food can do. But mostly, honestly, having your guys' support and knowing that there's someone there that cares is huge for healing. So that's so important. But yeah.
So let's move on to what your life is like post-healing. So life after Crohn's. Talk about, what you're able to do now. You told me you've been traveling around, not very far, but, been able to travel and go to different places around national parks and things like that. So let's tell the audience what you kind of feel like now.
Yeah. At first it was slow going. Like we would go in our RV. So I had all my own food, and then we'd go camping. So we went to the beach, to the mountains, and we recently stayed at a cabin, and I brought some of my own food. But a lot of places now you can really actually talk to them about what you would want to eat, and they can accommodate you so easily. I'm always surprised. But I do bring a lot of my food. I just bring like a little container. If we travel, we're a big traveling family, and they just know my kids know I bring a lot of food now, and it really works. I'm amazed. I'm like, okay, I can bring this, and we have a great time, and I feel so much better than I did before.
Yeah.
So even before Crohn's, I feel better eating so much healthier. And so anyways, it's doable. You take all your food with you, and it's easy. And, there's probably a lot of stuff that you put on there about recipes and things too, I think, with Crohn's. And there's so many neat ways to do things that it's very doable to travel, which is awesome.
Yeah, and you're not having to worry about being in pain or discomfort or worrying where the toilet is. It's just so freeing, isn't it?
Exactly. So great. So great. I don't even worry. And that took a long time to take away worry. I think women worry more than men. And it took me a long time to really think, like, am I feeling normal again? And so it feels so good to not be concerned. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And you can actually get on with spending time with the kids instead of worrying about your gut. It's
totally.
so massive. Yeah.
Yeah. Not worth it.
As we finish off the interview, I'd like you to talk to the audience about some advice, not only as someone who's healed, but as someone who's worked in the health field and being a nurse. What kind of advice would you give to people who are in a similar situation to what you were, just newly being diagnosed and kind of finding out that they've got Crohn's or colitis and trying to figure out what to do?
Definitely, medicine has changed so much. There's so much you can do that doesn't just involve one plan and one pathway. There's so many different varieties of places you can go for help. To not just think, oh yeah, my doctor, my nurse, that's all I have to, tell me what's right and what's wrong. There's so many different ways to get answers for your health that are natural, that can heal. And even being in the medical field, I have seen where our body heals itself through so many things, including, I could go into it for a while, but it heals us from so many things. The body can heal us from so many things that we don't need to have pharmaceuticals that were created in a lab. There are so many things that we can do to heal our body. So I would just say, please, do research to find what, including, definitely here, High Carb Health has proven that and has given support. So you don't need just medical support from your doctors and nurses. You can have support from health coaches. There's so many different avenues to get answers and to get healed. So, and it is not, it's a process. It's not, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, it's a journey. So just take the time to really process what's going on and know that your body can heal itself. So
yeah, the most important thing we teach, the body can heal itself. You just have to give it the right conditions. And if you do that,
right conditions,
amazing things happen, like things that are thought about from the medical community as incurable, that you can't ever overcome it, that you need to be on medication for life. As you can see, Kimberly is just one of hundreds of people that have gone through our program, and one of thousands of people who've actually turned their lives around. Maybe tens of thousands. We don't know about all the different cases, but there's so many people. We see testimonies popping up on all sorts of different places. I healed my Crohn's, I healed my colitis, I healed my MS, I healed my cancer, I healed my diabetes, I healed, all on a plant-based diet. And so when you realize what the root cause of disease is, I think that's the other thing that's important. When you realize what is the root cause of what's making us sick, that's where you can make big changes to your health.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so cool having support like this that's live that you can talk to. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, big congratulations to you, because you did all the hard work and you changed your life, and you took control of your health, and you decided to change your diet and did the hard things that need to be done to turn your life around and change your health destiny. So huge congratulations. Well done. You now have a life after Crohn's. I love saying that.
Yes.
So yeah, we're super proud of you. Really, really awesome effort. And just like to say, it was a real pleasure to coach you and guide you through this process, and to see you come out the other side. It's just been really great.
And it's great to know you guys are always there, and you have this program still. We can reach out to you anytime, I feel like, and it's awesome. So you've always answered all my questions. I appreciate it.
Once you've done the program, you're part of the High Carb Health family, so you're never going to be alone. So so that's Kimberly's journey. That's how she was able to heal Crohn's disease, and now living a healthy, medication-free life, and able to do whatever she wants to do, and eating all sorts of different whole plant foods, and really enjoying it. So guys, and girls, if you're watching this, give this video a thumbs up. If you're watching or listening on the podcast, please share this with as many people as you can, so people get to know that it is possible to heal. You don't have to be stuck on medication for your whole life, and you don't have to be caught up in that medical system forever and ever. If you have any questions, please note them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them as best as I can. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and click that little bell notification icon to get notified of all our recent uploads, especially amazing testimonials like Kimberly's. Once again, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks, Kimberly, for sharing your story. It's always amazing when someone's open enough to share what they've been through. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for everyone who's watching and listening, make sure you eat plants, and lots of them. See you next time.